Oh yeah, look at that sexy dwarf. Yeah, I see you with your 3 braided beard, your axe. Kate, you look good too. Maybe not as great as the dwarf.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. As you can see, I have my lab. Well, it's in the process of getting set up. I have my ELEGOO Mars 2 Pro. I have my Photon S, and then I have another Photon S. It's actually Jonathan's J Straight Photon S, and I have it here because we're doing some experiments and we're playing around with it. So, if you guys are new to the channel, please hit subscribe. If you guys are looking for a little fun and little projects, hit the subscribe button too. Hit like, share with your friends, do everything, because today I got myself a new toy. Today, we're going to be breaking open the ELEGOO SATURN. Now this thing is a much bigger printer than my Mars, and it's a 4K resolution. So, I'm going to crack this baby open, see what's in it, and see what we're working with here. So, I'm excited, so go ahead. Alright, so with that out of the way, let's crack this bad boy open. This thing is pretty big for what my standard 3D printer is, but I'm excited. 4K printer. This thing is massive. Alright, so first thing we pull out the box is, I'm pretty sure this is the toolkit. Comes with our little spatula. Comes with a few Allen wrenches, gloves, power supply, another scraper tool, directions, as well as the flashlight, which is important, and some cutters. So pretty much everything that came with my Mars 2 is in this box, and everything that came with the Photons, you can go back and watch that video, is in this box right here. Now for the massive bulk of the printer. This is how big it is. This thing is massive. Alright, so let's take it off the top. Covered in foam. Take the foam off. Alright. And the build plate is in the foam. Let me get that. Just to kind of give you an idea of how big this build plate is, I have really big hands. This thing is huge. This thing is pretty freaking massive. It has plastic on it, so we have to peel that off when we are about to do our first print. More foam, and of course, and here's your vat with instructions. You need to read our instructions. So this vat is pretty big too. You need to peel off, just like always, and then I'm excited to work this thing. Let's put this back on here. Let's go. And that's that. Let's go put it on the table, plug it in, turn it on, and see what it does. So already, the Saturn is sitting next to the Mars. You can already tell how much bigger it is compared to the Mars. Mars is a great printer. I love it. Saturn, I'm sure, is going to be a great printer. The Photons, I'm sure, are going to be great printers. But I'm curious to see how this resolution is going to work out for the Saturn. All right, so we're going to take off the cover. We're going to turn everything on. So we're going to be looking at this screen here to make sure everything is coming on as it should. And there it is. It took a while for it to boot up. That's interesting. All right, so let's move the bed up. Go to Tools, Manual, and we are going to go up 10 millimeters. It's a lot quieter than the Mars. You can't even hear it. All right, put the build plate on so that way I know where it's at. Actually, no, let's leave it off for a second. we got to make sure the exposure works. So take off the build plate. It's a lot harder than before. And we're gonna go over here to exposure, 15 seconds. We should see, there it is. So the LCD works perfectly fine. Don't have any problems there. So now all we have to do is level out the bed. So why don't we do that? We have to take the plastic off of the build plate. There we go. We're going to peel this off. And last but not least, we're going to peel off, oops, I dropped the peg, the back of the vat. Just like that. Ooh. So now it's time to level our build plate. Alright, so we're loosening up the knobs here, as so. And I need to go get a piece of paper, hold that thought. So we have our paper, put it underneath, tell the thing to go home. And just like any other resin printer, you want to make sure that the paper is nice and snug underneath the build plate when it goes home. Pretty snug. Sometimes these do come already leveled, but I like to make sure that it's properly leveled. Next, we're going to tighten these back up. Like so. And now we got to see what the minimum distance is getting the paper out. I'm doing 1.1, there's some give there. We got some more. Perfect. Now we're going to set our Z to 0, confirm. C to 0, back to manual moment. Perfect. So now let's lift it up and put the build plate back on. Make sure you got your gloves on. I just got this brand new Anycubic 1 kilogram gray, and I'm so excited to use it. It's actually a very good resin, so if you're looking for something to use right away, Anycubic gray, go ahead, give it a go. I'm gonna pour it into the vat. Be sure to shake it up, which is what I did already, in case you guys are wondering. And we're gonna do a test print of what's on this SD card, which is, there are 2 rooks here. So, let's see what it does. Make sure when it's descending into the vat that the resin is evenly distributed across the entire top of the plate. And we're going to see that right now. It's going. It's going. Going. And it's there. Perfect distribution. I can dig it. Now we'll be back in 4 hours to see how this turns out. Okay.
Now, while we're waiting for the test print to kind of finish up, I wanted to go over some of the specs for the ELEGOO SATURN. Now, my Mars 2 Pro, my Photon, and my Photon S, they are all 2K printers. So, the ELEGOO SATURN, as I mentioned before, is a 4K printer, and it uses a 8.9-inch monochrome screen. Now, I've been told that monochrome screens last longer than the usual RGB, so I'm excited for that. This thing has a 50 micrometer XY resolution with a 2 to 3 second per layer printing speed. So that's really fast for something as big as a Saturn. It has a 300% larger lifespan than the RGB LCD screen, like I said before, and it's actually 290% bigger in terms of build volume than the Mars 2. So this thing is actually pretty good for a printer. It's big. Now bigger isn't always better, but it always helps. So yeah, let's go look and see how these books turned out. So after 4 hours of printing, here is the Rook. Nothing really too special about it. I can't really tell if it's 4K or not because these are the same models that were in the Mars 2. So I decided to do something a little bit more extravagant and kind of push the limits of what this Saturn can do. So I decided to print this Cade statue because Cade is a badass and I think everyone needs to know that. So the resolution I was going for with this model didn't really stand out to me as much, so I decided to do another test. So I went on over to Cults3D.com and found this Grey Dwarf Paladin D&D figure because everyone loves these, and so I decided to throw it on the printer, and this is what I got. Now the details on this thing is really fantastic. Like you can see the detail in the braid, the shield, even on his armor. Now I broke off some of his armor trying to get the supports off. Something I couldn't really help, but I mean I bet you can't tell where I broke it off from, can you? Yeah, there's still a lot of support rubble on here, but I just kind of wanted to show you guys how this thing actually turned out, and it looks fantastic. Just look at this close-up of the face, of all the details in the braided beard. I can honestly say that I'm super happy with how this turned out. I can't wait to do more like this. Here's a side-by-side comparison of the Paladin Dwarf and Cade 6. Both of these were done on 2 different printers. As you know, the Dwarf was done on my Saturn and the Cade was done on my Mars 2 Pro. Both of these have extremely level of detail, but I think some of that has to do with the model that it is printed from. But the question still boggles the mind, and that question is, if 4K printers exist, why would anyone buy a 2K printer? And so maybe I'll do an experiment trying to compare the 2 resolution in printers, 4K versus 2K, to see if we can get the 2K to sort of kind of look like the 4K. Now that I have a 4K printer, I can do some comparing and contrasting. So if you want that in a video, please let me know. I will certainly do that for you guys, no problem. And that is it for this episode, guys. I hope you guys did enjoy this video, and I hope you did learn something. So what did you like? Do you have a ELEGOO Saturn? Do you guys like it? What is your favorite 3D printer? And would you guys like to see the 2K versus 4K? I'm really curious about that one myself, so I might just do it regardless. So go ahead and check me out on Instagram. You can find me on now TikTok. And also take a look at our Etsy store. Our Etsy store has some pretty cool stuff there, and I'm going to be adding a little bit more stuff in the coming weeks. So please do check that out, and I will see you guys next time. Bring your pen and paper because we're going to be doing some really cool experiments. All right, folks, I will see you next time, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button. It really helps a lot. Thanks. Bye.